At an art studio in LA, my girlfriend was wearing a denim jacket. As we looked at a piece together, out of the corner of my eye I saw the jacket and I reached over to grab her butt. A sudden "oh" comes from beside me, and a woman 30 years older than me is standing there blushing. I told her I thought she was someone else and ran away to my girlfriend. A few minutes later, the lady comes and finds us to talk about young love and how cute we are while making too much eye contact with me. The most awkward moment of my life thus far was with a stranger. I was in Quebec Airport going through customs with my family. Because of some recent changes to their system, they didn't have everyone in a line, but instead in a large pen where they would release approximately 50 people at a time. Chaos. When my family is at the front, they release us and everyone is running forward in a mass trying to get to the kiosks. Next to me is a tall Swedish man trying to get his family a kiosk. He is running forward and waving his arm behind him in a come-on motion, clearly frantic. Well, somehow the worlds aligned where his middle and pointed finger went perfectly into my two nose holes. Perfectly. As he then ripped his arm upwards to motion his family forward, my nose was also ripped forward, and I immediately began bleeding everywhere. He looked at me in horror. My family looked at me in frustration as we needed to get to a kiosk. The customs agents looked at me in bewilderment. The language barriers made the situation all the more awkward. Wife and I went to Europe for our honeymoon. We were in a train station in Aachen and I had to use the bathroom. I walked into the toilet stall and did my business, and when I tried to flush, it didn't go down. In a panic, I flushed again, and this only resulted in the water becoming dangerously close to the rim of the bowl. I tried to find someone that worked there to let them know and not abandon my mess. There was a language barrier, so Elle motioned for the guy to follow me to the bathroom, pointed at the nearly overflowing toilet full of poop soup, and then tried to flush. It went down immediately. He looked over at me like WTF. God, it was so embarrassing I wanted to die. I immediately ran out of the bathroom. My dad told me about one time when he was in high school gym class. This would have been in the late 70s. He overheard a couple guys whispering to each other about someone having been raped. My dad starts getting all pissed off and tries to eavesdrop to figure out what happened. These guys are talking very quietly, sort of looking around to make sure no one could hear them. My dad catches little pieces like, "I don't know if he really did it. Doesn't seem like something he would do. She's lied about that kind of a thing before," and so on. Finally, my dad can't take it anymore, gets himself all worked up, and pushes one of the kids against a locker and asks him what happened, who was involved, etc. Turns out these kids were talking about some soap opera, and they were just too embarrassed that they watched it that they didn't want anyone to hear them talking about it. A minute or two later, a man walked up and said, "Excuse me, can I have the child?" in a thick Russian-sounding accent. I was trying to decide what to ask to figure out if she was his kid when the elevator door reopened and the woman came flying out, yelling for the girl. She hopped up happily and ran over to her mom. I stared at the guy with an accusing look, then he turned and got in the elevator too. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Was he with them? Did he think I was trying to take their kid? Was he a creeper following them? So awkward. I literally sat silent through the whole weird encounter. One of my animal shelter buddies messaged me just some text and 2 pics. I didn't scroll up to the text. I only saw the one pic, which was a very funny-looking dog. It was a fat chihuahua that had a very bewildered look on its face. I replied LMFAO. A couple hours later, I looked again and scrolled up and saw the text. Something to the effect of a guy died and she was trying to rehome his 2 dogs and it included 2 pics. To which I replied LMFAO. So, I'm an asshole. I tried to explain and apologize, but I still think she's a bit salty about that. Hooked up with a guy in college and fell asleep in his dorm room. I woke up in the middle of the night needing to pee, so I've keying badly but unable to find any of my clothes right away. I ended up spending so long trying to find them in the dark that by the time I had enough to wear out in the hall to get to the bathroom, I didn't think I'd make it. He was still sleeping, so Al grabbed a big reusable water bottle and squatted over it. It was blissful relief until I looked over and saw his roommate staring at me in horror. My old roommate's ex was a sleepwalker and was really bad when she was drunk. One night I hear my door open and she is walking into my room stark naked. She opens up my laundry basket and squats on it, and I'm with my GF, so I'm whispering, "Amy, psst." WTF are you doing, Amy? Psst. And yep, she takes a big, healthy piss on all my clothes. As I'm still trying to whisper her awake without waking my GF up, she just kind of snaps out of it. The glassy eyes become focused and she goes, "Oh my God," and runs out. Next day I leave for work and I come back to all my clothes washed and folded with a case of beer in my room. I worked security at an aquatic theme park and was watching Jeopardy in the employee entrance. One of the veterinarians came through and watched it with me for a bit. He said he watched it religiously and he'd passed the test for the show and was hoping to get selected. He'd heard that they like to have a diverse group of contestants, and they hadn't had a black guy for a while, so he liked his chances. A few days later, there are 2 black contestants. So when I see him leaving the next time I say, "Hey, did you catch Jeopardy last week?" "No? Why?" he responds. "There were 2 black guys on it," I explain. He just stares at me blankly for a few seconds and walks off. That's when I realized it was a different gentleman than I had the previous conversation with. At the airport, I walked up as the elevator door was closing, and there was a woman inside with a stroller. I slowed down because I wasn't in a hurry and would rather catch the next one. Then I saw a little girl about 2 or 3 who was playing in a flower pot thing nearby. I realized she was likely meant to be on the elevator with her mom, but the doors had closed by the time I put it together. I walked up to her and said, "Did your mommy get in the elevator?" She just smiled shyly. I sat down with her and decided to wait there for a few minutes for the mom to realize. When I was a teenager, my friends and I would spend the weekends staying up late playing video games and eating junk food. I was also a cross-country runner, and on this particular night I was experiencing some extreme chafing from a long run earlier that day. While we were at the gas station getting Doritos and energy drinks, I announced to who I thought was my friend, "Man, my nipples really hurt." Upon realizing it was a complete stranger with whom I had just shared this intimate detail, I simply stared at him and said, "You're not my friend," and walked away. I didn't go back to that gas station for a long time. My little village has a small annual dog show. We normally enter our little dog, who has won friendliest dog, waggiest tail, and dog the judge would like to take home, in the past. This year, she was unfortunately in season, so we didn't enter to prevent any fuss from the other dogs but took her along to watch. Halfway across the park, she decided to poo, and I suddenly realized I'd forgotten a bag. There were loads of other people with dogs around due to the show, so I wandered away a little to ask someone for a bag. I turned back, and to my horror, a lady was picking up my little dog's mess. Not wanting to feel like one of those a-holes that doesn't clean up, I ran towards her to advise her that she didn't have to do that because I was going to get it. Instead, in a sort of panic, I waved my arms and barked, "No, that's my poo!" Please note that I did not say, "That is my dog's poo." She physically jumped, then turned a deep red. She sort of mumbled an apology, dropped the poo, and marched off with her dog. It was at that point that I looked to my left and saw my dog's poo sitting a few feet away from the lady's dog mess that she was attempting to pick up. I think about this at night sometimes. My son had small Toy Story figurines but wanted big ones for Christmas. I walked into Toy R Us and asked the male clerk, "Do you have a large Woody?" He turned bright red. I wheeled around and marched out and didn't go back for months. I was in high school, and we had a prize-giving ceremony during the school assembly. My name was unexpectedly called out, so I made my way to the front of the hall to collect my prize. I was almost at the front when I had a sudden crisis of confidence and thought that I must have misheard them, and there was no way they had called my name. So I turned around, walked back to my chair, and sat back down. My friends were looking at me and asked what the hell I was doing. They told me to get back up there to collect my prize. So I got back up, walked all the way to the front, and then had another crisis of confidence and thought that my friends must have been messing with me. So I turned around and walked back to my chair and sat back down. The hall was silent, and the teachers on stage were looking at me like I had just landed from another planet. Woke up from a blackout drunk in bed with a woman I had never seen before. I didn't know her name or anything about her. Decided to try and get her name off her driver's license before she woke up. She woke to find me digging through her purse. Got on an elevator with a woman, and she had on these really nice boots. So I complimented them by saying, Nice boots. She cups her breasts and says, "Well, you're not shy, thank you, they're real." And then immediately realized I said boots. She thought I said nice boobs. Longest elevator ride ever. To this day, whenever I say boots in any context, I do so with a very hard, deliberate T.